speak to a neighbor and another lady about Miss Kyle. They've lived here about 2 years. And sir, how long have you lived here?
2 years.
2 years. Is it a nice place? Quiet? Or it has its moments? It has its moments. So tell me what you remember back in that summer.
I remember
Oh, she remembers better?
Yeah.
a little
Okay,
bit.
okay. So you don't have to tell your name, and I'm not going to tell your location. So what do you remember about
We
when
just
she went
heard-
missing?
We just heard the glass was break.
On the window?
Yeah.
So what time of day was it?
Probably nighttime.
Nighttime? Okay. Because I
Yeah.
thought somebody
We
said
lived
they
down
saw
there
it.
at the time.
And you lived down there at the time. So I thought it maybe happened during the day. You know, people have rumors and stuff. You never know what to believe. So it was nighttime to you, to your recollection.
Best I heard all of you.
Do you remember what time it was?
No.
Was it early evening, perhaps?
Well,
Late?
At night,
Like after 12?
maybe.
Okay. So you heard
We just heard like glass
breaking. Did you get up?
Yeah, and I looked and I did not see anything.
So how far were you living from her apartment?
We
We lived on top.
we lived right on top.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She must live
On the bottom.
on the bottom right
Where
under.
Tracy's family.
Okay. Okay. So you were on top. You heard glass break. Did you get up and look out the window or look out the door?
Yeah,
And you didn't see nothing?
no.
So you think he got in quick? So do you think he went through the window? Because you all have screen doors with glass in them. Because I'm looking at your door now. So you think he broke the window out?
Yeah.
The wonder if she had a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
It was one bedroom.
1-bedroom.
Most
So-
of these are one bedrooms. Down there are one bedrooms.
And there's a couple of two
There's
bedrooms
a
down
couple
okay.
are 2 bedrooms.
So
there.
let's go back to that night. Her grandmother is one that reported her missing. Last talked to her on the 14th. Reported her missing on the 28th. So about 2 weeks that went by, nobody's heard from her, which, you know, I'm sure is strange for some people who dealt with her. So he broke a window getting in. I wonder where she was in there. What have you heard?
He ain't heard nothing else about it.
Really?
I haven't heard nothing else.
No, because when we lived down there, when the investigation actually started, when they actually found her,
Mm-hmm.
they was down there bringing out bags, a vacuum cleaner.
And the wall panels,
Wall panels, okay.
they was taking in.
I'm sure they got evidence. Well, his defense is saying that she killed herself. So if she killed herself, how would she have gotten all the way over there to Sam Tilly Road? I just left out there, and it's a doozy. You take a drive out there, it's scary as hell because it's filled with
Well,
brush
I
and trees and all
I
that.
noticed something when I walked around the next day. I
Uh-huh.
noticed the window was broken.
Broken. I see when you got up and
The
you saw it.
bedroom,
Her
the
bedroom window. Okay, because she's got. So she would have had a bedroom window and a living
And
room
I
window.
noticed that what kind of car she used to drive, the yellow car.
Okay.
I noticed too. And then
What-
she had a dog.
Shit, I heard her. She had a dog. Yeah, I heard she had a dog. Did you hear a
I
dog
think her
barking?
family's got a
No.
dog. I don't know.
You never heard the dog barking for a while, like 2 weeks or so,
No,
unattended.
We never seen the yellow car,
Her car.
her car.
We never
okay.
saw it again.
So where you think? So when she went missing, her car wasn't parked there.
Nope.
And you haven't heard where it was?
Nope.
Did you ever see this guy, Mr. Bassett, coming and going out of there, visiting her?
Not to my knowledge. Have you ever seen him coming in and out?
No, I never seen him.
Well, allegedly they weren't dating each other. They're trying to allege, you know, they're going to say nasty things about her, of course, that she was violent, she destroyed some of his property, she wouldn't leave him alone. But you can't explain breaking into somebody's house. If they're bothering you, why would you be breaking in their house? So if they trying to say she was a problem for him, then why are you over here breaking in her house? That makes no sense. And if she killed herself, why wouldn't you call 911?
That's what I'm saying. Why was she close?
And they said somebody heard something being thrashed around in there, thrown around. So I thought, well, why didn't any neighbors call 911 if they heard glass breaking or stuff being thrown around inside the house. So maybe that's what they're talking about. The glass broke out the window. So why didn't anybody call 911? Why didn't you all call? Were you afraid to call?
If we called, then we had to report it to the landlord.
Yeah.
We
you
had to
have
give the
report
landlord
ours.
permission
Everything to
before
the
we called the law.
Are you serious? Is that the policy now?
Yes.
Still? Do you all have the same manager?
Yeah.
Don't say her name, but just say, do you have the same manager that you had 2 years ago?
No.
But at that time,
No.
but
You don't have to.
don't mention no names. Yeah. But at that
Because
time,
what she done,
Like, I
she's not against us. She just wants to see if we can remember what happened.
yeah. I'm not here to pass judgment, but naturally, if you heard something, people are going to be wondering, like, well, why did anybody call the police? And you're saying back then your landlord said, don't call the law, come to her with the complaint.
Right.
But it's too late now.
I know.
That doesn't help her.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was you or one of you was getting your house busted in or door kicked in, what good is it going to be if the person gets a hold of you and I'm sitting there watching and I say, oh, well, I can't call because the landlord told me I better call the police first. That's not going to help you.
It's not going to help the person.
No, it's not going to help the person. Lord have mercy. This is terrible.
Yeah, we don't have the same money.
So what is the policy now as far as calling 911 in case of an emergency?
If somebody's buying or breaking in, we have to call the landlord.
First.
The landlord has to give us permission to call.
That's not no good. I don't think this is a good place to live.
No, they won't do nothing.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's not realistic. Because you can't come to people later and say, hey, did you hear something? Did you hear what's happening? Do you know what's going on in the apartment? Blah, blah, blah. And then boom. What's the point in asking you all later after the fact? Now we're talking about a dead person that was taken out of here and stored in somebody's crawl space in an abandoned house. You do know that's where she was found, in a toolbox.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
That was tragic.
Yeah, it's tragic. You got to see the house over there. I just left from over there. It's horrible. You can't even get to it. It's all covered by brush and a fence, and it's a little space where you can park. And I'm thinking, well, where's the driveway? It's bad. And the street is filled with abandoned trailers. It's horrific. It's really horrific. So do you feel safe living here? Because this is the policy to live in a place where you can't call for help. So like right now, if somebody comes and kicks that door in, what are you supposed to do? Not call 911 if you have a phone? You got to call the landlord to say, hey, there's a guy standing in my living room holding a gun to my head. Let me call my landlord.
Well, the person won't give you time to call the landlord.
That's the point. You're not. Exactly.
You'll go ahead and put the trigger.
Exactly. So you're survival of the fittest over here. This is bad.
So, that's what I was saying.
Did you know her personally? Did you know Miss Kyle personally? Did you know her? Desheena, did you know her? No.
I didn't know her.
Huh?
I didn't.
You didn't know her, but you saw her before? Okay.
Yeah, we just saw it.
Well, you want us to just walk over there to the apartment and we can just get a view of the door and everything? I'm not gonna show you. I'm just gonna walk over there to the apartment and just have a look at the door. Thank you so much. Anything you want to add about what happened to her before we walk?
I just been praying for the family.
Praying for the family. They need our prayers. They need our prayers because I do know of them. Some of the relatives of her. Yes, their child is gone. Yes, exactly. And the thing is that this person is going to court acting as if this girl killed herself. That's the defense's tool they're going to use in court. But you can't explain how a dead person can get up and get in a toolbox and make their way across the highway to an abandoned house. And if you cared anything for her, wouldn't you dial 911 if you found her dead?
Yeah, I would have.
Right. So why is he accused of taking her out of there? This is what he's saying. She killed herself. And there's no way I believe that. I don't believe she killed herself. Because that means they have evidence. And I believe they have cameras over here. They do have cameras here, don't they? Did they have cameras here 2 years ago? Oh, you don't think so? Okay. Well, I think somebody saw him go in and break in And we'll see who testifies that they saw him come in and out of there. And I'm sure he left DNA in that apartment, and I'm sure there's DNA on the victim, you know, even though it was 3 months when they found her. But I don't think he was clever enough to clean up everything, because you can't clean up everything. Thank you so much for your time. Me and him gonna walk over there to the apartment and take a look at the door.
Our doors, man.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. All right, everybody. The next, we're gonna take a walk over here.
Oh,
All right, everybody. We're taking a walk over here to the location of where we're just gonna check it out. If you see something, say something.
all this happened.
Don't worry about the landlord scrutinizing you for reporting anything, because that's the right thing to do, because you can save a life by reporting a crime. We know there are times where people are afraid, depending on if the people are violent or family. But okay,
We lived upstairs.
okay, y'all lived in 6,
Yes,
and she lived in what, 2?
3.
Oh, she lived in 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna walk on the sidewalk. They lived in 6 at the time. And then down here, that's 2. Down here. To where she allegedly lived. Apartment 3. This is where she lived. And this would have been the windows, I guess, that got broken out at the time. Window 1, that would be the living room. Bedroom window.
No, that's the kitchen.
That's the kitchen window?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the kitchen window. Well then, so he would have broke out either the living room or the back side?
Yeah.
You want to walk around there with me? Okay, I'm going to walk around the back side. They have back side windows. Excuse me. Hold on. Ooh, Lordy. Look at this. Ooh, the thing's clean. Jess herself too. Dog doo-doo back here. People have been walking their dogs back here. Gross. Yikes. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. I'm not gonna show you. So, which one were her back bedroom window? This one here. So look back here. There's nothing, nobody's gonna see you back here. I'm gonna show you everything. Neighbors upstairs, if somebody was living there. Then all these neighbors' windows here. And then back here, you can see how lonely this would be at night. And then look at this view here at night. Nobody's gonna hear or see anything. Okay, then I'm gonna show you this area view to walk back around the building to the front of the building. So I'm on the back side of the building. You show me your apartment window, your back bedroom window, sir. Thank you. I'm gonna give you all a panoramic. That's Desheena Kyle's window at the time of the crime. He broke into that window. Where was she? In the bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen, neighbors' windows. Nobody dialed 911 when they heard the glass. Okay. That's the neighbor's window that heard the glass break. He's here talking to me right now. We will not show him for security reasons. Wow. They were living on the second floor and you heard the glass break. So let's pan from his window. Where were you, in that room when you heard the glass?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that night he heard glass, and pan all the way over there to that bottom window is where Desheena lived. So from there, the crime scene, up to where this guy lived, he heard the window break. Wow. Okay, go ahead, let you walk. I thank you so much for talking to me. So, have you been following? Are you going to follow the trial? Are you going to follow it on the TV, the news? I don't know if they're going to let cameras be in the courtroom or not. This is sad. I'm just trying to understand the reasoning for a landlord to tell people don't call the police. I think I lived in a place one time where the landlord said don't say anything to the neighbor if like you have a problem with them. Just come to me and I'll rectify the problem.
Well,
But
there was a guy lived on the bottom, lived right next to her, and he heard commotion, but he's deceased.
Okay. So I think that was the rumor at the time that somebody heard something being
That
thrown
he
around
saw-
inside
That he saw a vehicle leaving
after the fact.
with her.
Was she alive?
That I do not know. That's what
I hear what you're saying, the rumor. Okay.
that was the rumor that the guy that told me used to be her neighbor.
Okay. So at that time, the guy saw the suspect, Mr. John Bassett, leave out that night with her.
Yeah, that she was calling for help.
So that means she had to have been alive then. So
Yeah.
let's just say that perhaps she wasn't killed in the apartment, that he forced her out. Because see, that's why I kept saying about the toolbox. The toolbox has got to be big enough to hold you. So there's no way I believe in my right mind he drove here with a toolbox and sat it at the door, rolled it all the way around that building, around that corner, and sat it at the window. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And then broke in and then stuffed her in that and then rolled her out. I don't believe he did that. I said he had to have taken her out in something, but it didn't dawn on me that he could have forced her out alive, forced her in a car with a gun. She's scared that he took her somewhere, killed her, and then went and got that box. This is still a lot of transferring around with boxes and toolboxes and rugs and whatever. We'll see in court what they say. Wow, this is crazy. This is bad. Wow. So the neighbor that lived next door to Desheena Kyle is no longer living. The allegation is, do not know if it's true or not, that she was alive walking out of the apartment. Do not know if that's true. Allegedly, she's shot in the head, so I do not know if he shot her somewhere else. Shot her in his car, shot her out in the woods, shot her in the apartment, but it can't be both. It can't be that she was walking out alive and dead in the apartment. So which is it? We'll wait to see the information when we go to court. If she was actually shot in a house, if there's forensic evidence that shows that she was shot inside of the house, as you heard this young lady here saying that they took out baseboards, the vacuum cleaner from her residence, probably to check to see if he vacuumed up the house, tried to clean up after himself. Very scary. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Well, stay tuned. Follow me on XL on YouTube.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you. All right, everybody. I'm going to check out of here. I'm going to finish this live in my vehicle. Hold on. All right. Okay. I'm going to pan down because I want to show you all anything about these people. Excuse my mess. I was washing my hands from drying some stuff. I'm going to pull out of here so I don't have to show these people who they are. They were kind enough to talk to the queen. One or two people came out looking, saw me with my camera, probably wondering, well, who's this filming? Oh, it's just old YouTuber. That's all. All righty, let's get out of here. All right, we're pulling off the property now. Nobody following me out talking crazy. But it is a free park, and then I'll sit and we'll chop up what was said in this. To welcome during the live stream. You are now listening to the Vault XL. We have just left the residence of the decedent, Desheena Kyle. She's no longer with us. She was brutally murdered inside of that apartment I just left and showed you by Mr. John Bassett. His defense is claiming she killed herself. But let's chop up what was said. She killed herself, so how did she get out of there, John? This is the queen talking to you. Oh, because if I could be in that courtroom, I would surely go show up every day. Give everybody the business. Because this is BS. These defense attorneys, I'm telling you, they're just as ruthless as their clients. 14 thumbs up, 19 viewing. That's how I like it. Thank you so much. I want to thank that couple for talking to me. They've lived here about 2 years. They were living here at the time of the crime. They were on the second floor. This is a 2-floor apartment complex, 2 floors only. They were on the second floor, catty corner from her apartment. As you see, I had to go around the backside of the building to where her bedroom window would have been. At nighttime, that is dark. Nobody's back there. Nobody's going to see anything. He knew that once again. That's why he decided to. Sorry about that, everybody. That's why he decided to go around the backside of that property where her bedroom window was at the time, and he broke in. That neighbor just so happened to be inside of his bedroom, I believe, and heard the glass break. But as you heard in his commentary, he did not dial 911. And perhaps had somebody called 911, Desheena Kyle would be alive today. So we now have a live person saying they heard the glass break, and he lived upstairs, catty corner from her apartment. He's number 6. I believe she's number 3. The neighbor who lived next door to him, lived next door to Desheena at the time, is no longer alive, per this man's commentary. And he heard something going on inside of the apartment. And if he said he saw her come out alive with the suspect, this is even more harrowing, because now you have to ask the ultimate question. If Desheena Kyle was alive coming out of the apartment, screaming for help, why didn't anybody come out? Why didn't anybody call 911? Why didn't that neighbor call when he heard noise next door? So if the guy just spoke to her crashing of a window, he had to have heard it because he lived next door to Desheena. Was the dog barking at the time? She had a small dog. You also heard this gentleman say that her car was gone. Where was her car parked? Did he take her car? So this is all strange to me. Was her car in the shop? Broke down at her family member's house? Where was her car parked, number 1, at the time of the murder? Abduction, if we're to believe this is an abduction. What car did he drive to take her out of the apartment complex? Why didn't somebody call? I didn't want to seem mean to this couple talking, but I have to ask the obvious questions because it's the same questions that law enforcement would ask you. Why didn't you dial 911 when you heard the glass break? Did you get up and look to see where the noise was coming from? Did you see anybody coming in or out? He said he didn't. So if he got up and looked out the front door, he probably wouldn't have seen anybody because the SOB broke out the back window. So if you look out your front window, you're not going to see anybody. You get up and open the front door, you're not going to see anybody. This is bad, man. This is really, really bad. And I'm going to give you an area view of this so-called ratchet apartment complex that had a manager telling the tenants, don't call 911, call me. Well, Sugarfoot, there's a lady dead now because you felt like it was more important to notify you instead of calling the police. What good is that going to do a victim that's in need of help if somebody's got to call the damn landlord? It's late at night, wee hours, office hours are closed. Somebody's got to wait till you come in and open the office to tell you, oh yeah, Miss Lady, by the way, I heard breaking glass last night. Lord have mercy. I told you something was off with this information. Because what did I say at the beginning of this commentary? The last live. How did he get her out of the apartment? Ceased. I believe she was murdered in the apartment. What does the toolbox look like? How big is it? How tall does it stand? How low is it? She was 5'3". I believe 130 pounds, the information I last checked. So she wasn't a big person. So it wouldn't take much to conceal her. But it's just ridiculous. Trying to piece this all together. Hold on 1 second, you guys. All right, I'm back. This is bad. This is so bad. Thank you all for joining me. 17 in the house. Oh, it's not a field trip, dear. This is way past a field trip. You see, it's always best to have a visual when you're talking about true crime. You always want a layout of the street, the neighborhood, so people can get a general idea of where the person lived, what kind of life were they living. What does the background look like? Security cameras, doorbell cameras, all those things are relevant. A lot of people have cameras now. That's the very reason why a lot of crimes are solved very fast, because there are security cameras and doorbell cameras, by the grace of God. I don't know if anyone had doorbell cameras 2 years ago, but what's baffling to me is what I thought then 2 years ago. How in the world somebody heard glass breaking, something was breaking inside of the apartment. Obviously, it was the windows. Could have been some other things broke inside of the apartment. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens in court, what's revealed by the prosecution. But the fact that this guy just told me he heard glass breaking, and the guy that lived there next door to Desheena heard glass breaking, saw her come out of there allegedly with the suspect, meaning she was alive at the time of coming out of the apartment. So if that is true, and she wasn't murdered inside of the apartment, then that means John Bassett kidnapped her, took her out of the apartment, and took her where first? Took her where? And I think I remember a while back that I thought I heard something like that maybe she walked out of that apartment alive and maybe killed elsewhere, because that's been 2 years ago. Well, S. Hagen, he dated her, sweetheart. Trust me, if you're going to murder somebody, you're going to go commit a crime, you know which door to go in, you know every window, you can count the windows, because you're up to no good. You've got the devil in you. You know which window to break. He knows how many apartments are on that bottom floor. He knew which window to break. There's not that many apartments on the bottom level, so he knew which window to go to. He knew her window. So now we have to ask, was he calling her, texting her? Was she ignoring him? When was the last time they talked? Last time they visit one another? Last time they had any interaction, sexual interaction? His defense team is saying she was violent, she damaged his property, she killed herself. So really they're contradicting themselves. So your client was chasing somebody that was violent. That's basically what you're going into court using as a defense tool. Oh, he liked her so much, but she was violent, and he broke in her house because she was violent. That makes no sense. Oh, she killed herself, but he took her out and hid her in a toolbox under the crawl space of a dead person's house. This is stupid. This is absolutely stupid and asinine. But this is what these defense attorneys do. They go into court and say anything, and they let their stupid clients tell them anything, and they're stupid enough to spin this venom in court as if some of us are dodo birds to believe it. I don't care if the two fought when they dated, because that's nothing new. People fight, argue, put their hands on each other, break up today, they're back together tomorrow. That's their business. Back together. The point is, when he broke her window out, he was breaking and entering. If he took her out of the apartment, that's kidnapping. You're not going to be able to use a defense that she was violent when he broke in her house. Let's say he didn't murder her in the apartment, but he murdered her elsewhere. So that means he kidnapped her, shot her in the head, hid her in a toolbox, and put it in this crawl space of an abandoned house. How is that sensible a sensible defense. She was violent, but I broke in her house. She was violent, but I kidnapped her. She was violent, but I shot her in the head. She was violent, but I hit her in a toolbox at a dead person's house that's related to me. But she was violent. Okay. I could become violent just listening to this information. Nob Hill Apartments. Yeah. Okay. Not a place you want to rent. Yeah, I'm putting you on blast. Because you all have a duty to serve your tenants and to do right by the tenant. It's the law. You're to upkeep the property. You're to keep cameras on the property. You're to take all complaints seriously. You're to keep an eye out. Ask your neighbors to keep an eye out. Not to be nosy or meddlesome, but just to keep an eye out. And see, I know about places like this. They're always wanting to be the head honchos and don't want nobody saying anything to the tenants. Don't complain about the tenants. But then as soon as something goes wrong, you're the first one banging on people's doors asking them, well, did you see anything? Well, obviously somebody saw and heard something. But it didn't help the dead person. It didn't help Desheena. So if two people heard glass breaking, other people heard glass breaking. You know other people heard it. And they didn't get up and didn't go check. Didn't look out. Didn't knock on the door. Hey, you okay? Bang on the wall. Hey, you okay over there? Hey, what's that noise over there? You get to banging too loud with me. Everybody knows Queen. I'm going to bang back. Hey, what's going on over there? Hey, I'm trying to sleep. So if somebody over there trying to tow the body out, he might think twice. Oh, hell no, a big girl up next door. I can't take her out of here. That big black lady up. Hell yeah, I'm up because you got me up. Yeah, I'm furious right now. This is why I don't like apartment living. This is the very reason why I preach this to people, why I cannot stand living in apartments, because these landlords are about the damn money. All they care about is the money. Keep your nose clean, mind your business. Don't complain about people. Don't complain about maintenance. Don't complain about what we're not doing. Just keep giving us your rent money. Everything's all right. Something goes bump in the night, we may come knock on your door and ask you, do you know any damn thing? But other than that, don't come to us complaining about nothing else. Okay. That's why she's gone. Nobody said anything. And I'm not trying to be mean to the two people I just talked to, but think about what they just said. The landlord told us, do not call 911. I want y'all to listen to what I just said. What this man and this woman just told me. The landlord said to us 2 years ago, if there is a problem on the property, do not dial 911. Notify me and I'll handle it. Well, ma'am, wherever you are, how did you handle the murder of Desheena Kyle? I'd like to know. And how do you feel knowing that she either died in that apartment or was forcibly removed out of that apartment by Mr. John Bassett and taken elsewhere to be shot in the head and discarded in an abandoned house? And for those of you who are tuning into this live stream that didn't watch the last one, please go back into my vault and pull up the last video where I take you to the abandoned house where she was discarded. Yes, the Queen went live from crime scene number 2 to an abandoned lonely road, Sam Tillery Road, 6969 Sam Tillery Road, North Knoxville. The Queen was there live filming at the crime scene number 2. Lord have mercy. I just don't understand this world. Beautiful black girl gone, snuffed out from a mangy ass, low rent, bottom feeder with no goals, no dreams, no hopes. He has nothing to live for and has the nerve to be in court trying to not get life without parole. You deserve life, sir. You deserve to do day for day. And if it was left up to me, I'd give you the death penalty. Matter of fact, you should get what you gave her. The state of Idaho says they'll give you the firing squad if they don't have the meds to administer in your arm. And that's what I think John Bassett deserves. And I don't care who's listening to this live stream. I don't give a damn who you're related to. I don't give a damn. That's my opinion. He needs to get what he gave her. You shot her in the head. It's cold-blooded murder. And the fact that you broke out her window, I believe you intentionally went there to murder her. And I do not know what words you all had over the phone, text, when the last time you two saw each other, dated, coincided, but it's principle. You went there and you killed that young lady. Whether you killed her there or you took her somewhere else and killed her. And this is horrible. As I said, I do not know the allegations mentioned in this live stream are true pertaining to if she walked out of that apartment alive with Mr. Bassett. But we do know the end result is that she was found in a toolbox under an abandoned house in a crawl space at a relative's house that belonged to Mr. John Bassett. So he knew to take her to this abandoned house. I take you on a tour of this dilapidated house on a lonely, barren road, and it's scary as hell back there. And just the thought of being back there at night and someone is forcing me in a car, number one, forcing me out my apartment, forcing me down this lonely, barren road to take me to my death is scary as hell. And I'm wondering if there's some truth that she was alive and possibly made it back to Sam Tillery Road and was executed there. I don't know. I'll wait to see what the prosecution says in court. If indeed she was dead in the apartment or he took her and executed her somewhere elsewhere. Lord have mercy. I'm going to end here because I've got to dry my clothes and I got to get me some dinner. I want to thank you all for following the content. The defense has rested in the Lori Vallow Daybell trial. Will 12 members of a jury find her guilty of murdering her children, Charles Vallow, and conspiring to kill Tammy Daybell? I'll bring you that update. The trial for John Bassett will start once a jury has been seated. I've been trying to get information earlier, but I couldn't connect the Wi-Fi on my computer when I was going live pertaining to this information. I took you all out to that house. I'll be back with an update pertaining to if a jury has been seated. He's been accused of killing Desheena Kyle, shot her in the head and stored her in a toolbox. That information was just released last week to the general public. And I'm also covering the trial of Jacqueline and Trezell West. The state has rested. Please go to my community board to take the said polls. And do you believe there is no evidence in this trial linking the two to the murders of Orrin and Orson West? I went live earlier because I find it baffling that there are no forensics in this case of the two boys. Will 12 members find them guilty or not guilty? Will they need the bodies of the boys, and will they need forensic evidence to tie them to their murders? Were they kidnapped? Did they wander off? The Queen is doing triple duty with true crime. I want to thank you all so much for following the content. Please go back and re-listen to this live stream as I come out here to this apartment complex, Nob Hill, to speak to two neighbors who lived near Desheena Kyle at the time of her going missing and later found dead 3 months later. They were her upstairs neighbors. They briefly spoke with the Queen about what they heard at that time, and we took a tour around the corner from their apartment to where she lived at the time and where they lived at the time. And I also take you around the back of the building where her bedroom window was, where John Bassett is accused of breaking out that said window and illegally entering her apartment. Did he kill her in that apartment, or he took her out forcibly, which is kidnapping, and murdered her elsewhere. We will wait to see what the state has against Mr. Bassett. Any forensic evidence, I will bring you commentary pertaining to what the family has to say. I do not know if any of the family would like to speak to the Queen. I don't want to be disrespectful by messaging any of them to ask if they'd like to speak to me. But if they're watching this live stream, you know how to contact me to talk to me about the murder of your loved one and how you feel about Mr. Bassett standing trial. I want to thank all of you for joining me. Have a wonderful week. Please check my community board for said polls and updates. Please take the polls. Make your voice count. Please chat in the chat. And when the link is dropped, please hit the link to give your public opinion. Thank you so much. Please check out my latest video pertaining to Summer Wells. June will mark 2 years that she went missing out of East Tennessee. No new information has been related by the TBI, FBI, or local law enforcement. If you know of any information, please call them, but only factual information. Thank you. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Please do not sit idly by and allow somebody to be bludgeoned or murdered in their own damn house because you were too afraid to call 911. You don't have to give your name. You don't have to give the location of your house or apartment. Just tell them something. Desheena Kyle could possibly be alive right now had somebody dialed 911. And that's a lot to digest. If you want to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. I may go live later, and I may do an all-around live stream pertaining to Vallow, Daybell, Summer Wells, Desheena Kyle, Jacqueline Trezell West, and the state that people are in right now mentally. That you are walking by people who are walking time bombs and do not know that they are unhinged. And some of these people you know are unhinged, and you continue to deal with them anyway. I'm guilty of it. We are all one step away from the grave. And that's a sad thing to say. But when you're dealing with people who are not well, you don't know the hour that they're going to turn on you. And we all need to be careful of the company we keep. Our actions, our words, our tongue, because you do not know when your last day will be your last day. Please be very careful of how you talk to people, how you treat people. Be careful of the relationships you become entangled in. When you see the signs that the person is violent, the tongue is violent, they are hitting you, pushing you, shoving you, berating you, run like hell. Save yourself, because self-preservation is number one. And this case right here pertaining to Desheena Kyle is bothering me because I have a sneaky feeling that she would be alive today had somebody dialed 911. But nobody called because they're worrying about what the fuck a stupid-ass landlord has to say. Well, see, I don't dance by other people's music. I've been considered hard-headed, but it's gotten me to 52 years of age, so I must be doing something right. There's no way in hell I would have stayed idly by hearing glass breaking and not have dialed 911. I couldn't have done it. There's just no way in hell. There's no way in hell. I want to thank you all so much for your time following the content in this great network. I'm going to get out of here. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Stay safe, everybody. This is the Vault XL.